Hello everyone and good morning. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of On Location with Rekha and Gabby. I am Rekha and Gabby is behind the camera today. Today we're sitting down with Sara Palamarek from Evelyn and Esme Jewelry. How are you doing this morning?
I'm good, thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having us in your home today, which is our location of set. Today we're going to be looking at, a little bit of the inspiration behind Sara's jewelry. And if you guys didn't know this, she also is a writer of poetry. So can you tell us a little bit about the name behind Evelyn and Esme Jewelry, please?
Definitely. So the company is named after my grandmother. So Evelyn was my paternal grandmother and Esme is my maternal grandmother. So I have pictures of them here, and I always kind of bring those along for my markets and stuff. Evelyn was very chic, and she loved sparkle, like the shoes match the purse, match the jacket kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then Esme was like a farm girl, very boho, very earthy. So I have kind of different pieces that emulate both of those styles.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
Did you get to grow up with them at all?
Yeah. So my grandparents on my mom's side are in Rocky Mountain House, so we'd visit them a lot. And then my granny she was in Stony Plain. And my family moved there when I was 14 as well, so we were very close. And she lived right across from the pool, so we'd always, go to her house. And I worked at the pool for a long time, so I'd go for lunch. And so we were pretty close.
Oh, wonderful. What kind of brought that about? You guys your jewelry company started in, was it 2020 you had mentioned earlier?
2021.
2021,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah. So that was the year that Evelyn died. Mm-hmm. So I was kind of going through some of her pieces, and I made this bracelet, which I still wear for myself, and it has some of her vintage crystal on it. And then I kind of just, because I had researched making bracelets and stuff like that, and I kind of got into it with bracelets first. Mm-hmm. And I did a few small markets, and other people wanted things, and I wasn't really thinking it would really go anywhere, but I was just we'll try this. And then eventually I started making other things like necklaces and earrings and stuff, and it kind of just grew from there. But
yeah, I'm noticing the pieces that you're wearing right now, and I'm like, oh, they're just gorgeous.
Thank you.
What kind of I guess what was it like during the pandemic, going through all of that and coming out with these beautiful pieces?
I think for a lot of people, the pandemic was hard in terms of disconnection, right? Everyone was in their own little worlds. And also too, there's only so much Netflix that you can watch before you're okay, my mind is rotting. So it was a nice escape. I think as any creative endeavor, you do it to connect with yourself or to connect with other people or to connect with, nature. So for me, it was a way to find flow, right? I would sit down and I would work with patterns, right? Just creating, taking them on, putting them off, different patterns. And then same with the writing, right? So it's just a way to kind of, reflect, do something that's not screen related. And I think there's a lot of power to art, right? And how it helps us. And so I think it was very cathartic to create during that time, when you kind of felt like it was Groundhog Day. 2021, I was on mat leave too, so it was even more so Groundhog Day, because it was just
of course,
every day is the same. There wasn't that switching it up to go to work or anything like that. So so it was a nice outlet. It was something that was just for me, that wasn't tied to my role as a mother. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it was good.
Oh, wonderful. What was it like with the kids? You have more than one?
I have 3.
Okay. Yeah. What was it like, playing with beads with them? Did they get a chance to?
Oh yeah, so I have play beads that they can work with,
wonderful.
On the side, yeah.
Yes.
So they could do their own thing, And they love that. Yeah. And then also too, like sometimes for gifts and stuff, especially like for their teachers, I let them like design something.
Wow.
So then they can like sit down and like pick the colors and pick what order they want to put it in and stuff like that. So then I think it's like meaningful for them to be able to do that as well.
Oh yes, especially when, you know, there's not a lot to do during the pandemic, to get to do something really meaningful.
Yeah.
That kind of, you know, lets their teacher know, hey, I'm still thinking of you.
Yeah.
Even though you're on a screen now. Yeah, that's wonderful. When did you end up going to your first market?
My first market, I think I did that one just before Christmas in 2021. So it was very small. I think everyone had to wear masks. I think you had to show your immunization status to like get into the market. It was actually just over here in Royal Gardens. That was like my first one. And then from there, I did a few other, like Made in YEG market, and Strathern Art Walk, I think, was the first like really big market that I did. And I've done that a couple years now, and I'll be doing that one in the fall. Again as well in September. So that one, I love it. It's such a great vibe. Everyone's outside and there's live music and there's like the beer gardens and the food trucks, and everyone and it's always beautiful. Like the weather is always great for it. I'm like, they have like this like magical horseshoe for weather for it. So it's great.
Oh, cool. Was there like any moment during that time that was just like, this is what I want to do. This is it.
Yeah, I mean, I think growth is hard. It's challenging, especially like the materials that I work with are expensive, right? So I use 14 karat gold fill for the gold pieces, and I use sterling silver for my silver pieces. So it's hard to kind of like scale up organically without kind of looking for like outside investment and stuff like that. So I think it's been just like this like slow, steady growth. I still have a day job, so I'm still gonna be doing that for a while. But it's definitely, I'm watching it grow, and I'm enjoying seeing it grow, and I'm patient. I guess essentially, I'm just slow and steady.
Oh yes, that's. I feel like that's so integral of the process, to like look at it and go like, we're still here. We're gonna stay here and enjoy it for as long as possible. Yeah. It's interesting to get to meet people while they're like in their growth stage still, and seeing this and going like, this is like, to me, someone who doesn't really make jewelry, someone who's looking from the outside in, is like, you've made it, you've done it. Like, you look at all these pieces, you're doing it already. But it is really cool to get to be part of, a little blip, a little chapter here and there, and be like, this looks really great. And then maybe come back, a year later, a year after that, and see that growth. What is it like looking back to the pandemic and seeing where you started and where you are now?
Oh my gosh, I've come so far. Even I think about my first market table, and I think about like my mental snapshot. I'm like, oh, that was terrible. Like it was so like disorganized. There was no good branding. I think what people really underestimate about having a small business is this is like 25% of it, right? You have your website, you have your branding, you have your marketing, you have like that just going to all the events to like get your name out there. And I'm really lucky. I have some really creative friends. Like I have a friend who's a photographer, and she's a marketing director, and so she's helped me a lot. My husband is in business, so he's kind of like helped me, especially assigning value to your pieces. Like, like breaking it down for me, like, well, no, like what's your time worth? Like materials aside, right? And kind of looking at how to assign value to a piece and stuff as well. But yeah, it's definitely, I've learned a lot because I'm a registered nurse. So I teach at the U of A nursing school. And so that is a different language to me, right? All the business stuff. Like I don't really know a lot about that. So I've definitely learned a lot over the years in terms of that. And that's kind of helped me grow and become more sustainable. Because I'd definitely still be in the red if I didn't have any outside help in terms of like tips and tricks of like, what to do, how to get there. So.
Oh my God, you're literally talking to the person who's like, I love red. Red is my favorite color. I will bathe in it if you allow me to. Literally just, any time that I get a chance, I'm like, I'm just not going to look at the numbers because I'm having fun right now. And that's all that matters. So yeah, it is. It's really cool to see that people are, learning such different skills and collaborating with each other. Like I just recently, I think like last month, saw a play and I loved it. And I got the sticker that literally says, cooperate aggressively. And I kind of I'm like, let's change the cooperate to collaborate. But yeah, collaborate aggressively. Yeah. Especially for our local businesses and local craftsmen, because there is something wonderful that can be made from collaborating with all the minds that have great skills for business, art, and when that meets in the middle, you get something wonderful and personal. So I noticed that you have some cards here as well. Mm-hmm. Are these are the ones that, do these cards have the poetry on them?
Yes. Oh. So I do write poetry to accompany my collections as well. So for instance, I wrote a poem called Mama that I include that with your piece. Oh. And those are for my like custom birthstone bracelets and necklaces. So I started with that because I was looking for one for myself. I wanted to put each birth month for my husband, my kids, and myself on a piece of jewelry, and I couldn't really find anything that I liked. And then so that's definitely been like one of my best sellers, and people love like the poem that comes with it. It just makes it so much more meaningful. And then I've written some other poetry as well to go with the different collections, and I find it's nice to have like almost like a talisman of like that's what you want to set for your intention for the day when you put that piece on, right? Like that's what you're looking to kind of bring to your day. So yeah, people love the poetry. I think definitely during the pandemic as well, like that was such a beautiful way to connect with people. Like even if they didn't buy anything from me at a market, like they sometimes would just like ask to take my poetry with them. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's a nice way to kind of like make it more meaningful. I think lots of people like it for picking out gifts because it helps them like say what they want to say as well. I remember one lady came to my table, and it was probably 2021, and she read the resilience poem and she started crying. Oh. And then she was like, what one does this go with? And I was like, oh, it's this like necklace and it has 7 beads on it. And she counted the number of beads, and then she started crying more, and I was just like, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. And it was just like so nice to see that connection that, because I think sometimes you don't think that people are going through the same things that you're going mm-hmm. through or feel the same things that you're feeling. I think with social media especially, we have this highlight reel that we see of everybody, and there's not that full spectrum of like emotions that goes with it. It's just the happy moments. So I think it's a nice way to kind of reconnect with people.
Oh yes, definitely. And you never know what's going to speak to someone. I feel like I always end up meeting people who are able to just put something into words mm-hmm. that I'm like, how do you know that? Or they just mention something that I've been thinking about, and I go, wow, okay, I should probably pay more attention to this. And honestly, even just seeing certain pieces are just like, it's like deja vu. I meant to have this. I will be shopping. But that's my what would you call it? My shopping habit, my little greedy goblin in me. It's not hoarding, it's collecting. It is collecting, and it is a healthy way to express who I am on the inside. So, yeah, my shopping habit. What is it like to meet other, I guess, like artists and local designers? Have you ever like thought about collaborating with any of them on pieces?
Yeah, I think definitely it's something that I would be interested in doing. I think especially too, as I level up, and, you know, want to have some of my pendants and stuff like made with different designs. I think I would really like to collaborate with like local artists and stuff as well. And I think too, doing custom pieces, that's a beautiful way to collaborate as well with like the person that's getting the piece as well. So yeah, and then I love collaborating with like I said, my very talented friends come out for photo shoots, or they do the photo shoots, and so that's like a beautiful thing. Yeah. So.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah. What do you guys do to prepare for a photo shoot? Any like special rituals that you might be able to share with us?
Well, my friend Jessica is super talented, and so she's kind of in charge.
Perfect.
So we did one recently at my friend Andrea's house, and a bunch of people came. I kind of put out like coffee and breakfast stuff. And then we had, you know, the girls each brought a suitcase of clothes, and we all like, you know, got dressed up and just had a fun time. And I think I'm at that point in my life that I'm, you know, like I just want to have fun with my friends when I'm doing stuff. Like that's to me like so joyful. Like even if, you know, my photos didn't really get out there or something like that, like I love that I have those photos with my friends. I love that we have that time together. So I think it's just a fun time.
Oh, awesome. I love it. Have you ever, I guess like there are a lot of local, I want to call them like local shops in Edmonton that kind of showcase a lot of our local artists. Have any of them piqued your fancy at all to kind of work with them?
So my stuff is in Hideout Distro, so off of 124th. Yeah. So I met Tori at Strathern Art Walk, actually. We were beside each other for the first year. And she has a lot of amazing stuff in her shop. Like she makes her own candles and perfumes and like body lotions and stuff like that, and they just smell absolutely fantastic. Like I love them. And then she has a lot of local art and goods in her store, so it's in there. And yeah, definitely looking to branch out to more shops and stuff, even like coffee shops and stuff. So,
oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah, it's on my list to kind of get more into that wholesale in terms of expansion. Yeah.
I think one of the coolest things about having shops like Hideout Distro would be that if you were, let's say you have like a surprise date or something that day, or you're going for coffee with someone, and you just kind of want to elevate what you're wearing, just, you know, add a little pizzazz to your outfit. Yeah. I feel like it's really cool to be able to just pop in and grab something that's locally made and a higher quality piece of jewelry. Like you had mentioned, it's all 14 karat filled, right?
Yeah, gold filled.
So it's really interesting to, you know, kind of imagine this day where you're like, I have to go to a meeting, and you run in, you're like, this is going to be my power piece when I come in, right? So that kind of brings me into, you know, your materials here. What brought you towards working with sterling silver and 14K gold filled? Was there any like experiences that you had that you were like, this is the route we're going to go in?
Well, I think like obviously with jewelry, solid gold is probably your best option, but it's not very accessible, right? It's so expensive. And so I would get frustrated even when I would buy like vermeil pieces. Like I love to like wear my pieces all the time. I don't want to have to take them off to like shower or swim or anything like that. And so also too, being environmentally conscious, like I think fast fashion, you know, when you're getting plated pieces, and they're $30 and you wear them for 2 months and then they tarnish and you throw them out, like you're contributing to that, you know, environmental factor as well. So for me, like these are lifetime pieces. Like people can, if you take care of them, they will last you decades, right? So for me, that was really important, especially when you're receiving a gift, right? You want to be able to treasure that forever. So that's why I chose the metals that I chose. And then also too, I have a lot of people in my life with like allergies to metals and stuff. So I wanted them to be hypoallergenic so everybody can wear them. And then, like I said, like that lifetime piece, like that high quality piece. So that was really important to me. And gold fill is more of a recent creation, I guess. So a lot of people don't really understand what it entails.
I'm like, what does that
so I can
mean
kind
exactly?
of take a minute to explain it. So basically, vermeil is sterling silver, and it's dipped in gold, so it's plated. When you just dip and it's plated, it will come off with time. So that's why your vermeil pieces, you shouldn't really wear them in water. You should avoid like lotions and oils and sprays and cosmetics on them because they will tarnish with time. Whereas, and also to the amount of gold on them, it's in Canada, 1% is the standard for vermeil. Plating, it's usually a flash plating, so it's usually like 0.1%. It's very, very little gold. And then gold fill, it's a brass core. And then what they do is they use heat and mechanical process to bond the gold to it. So it won't come off. It won't flake off or rub off. You can wear it in water. You can, put your sunscreen on and it's not going to tarnish it. And it's the minimum of 5%. All around the outside. So it's a lot more gold on the item as well. So that's why the price is a little bit higher. I do try and price my pieces similar to like what you would pay for a vermeil piece of that equivalent, because I do want my jewelry to be accessible to people. I want, times are tough. People's mortgages are going up. There's not as much money in the budget for things that you want as opposed to me. So I do want it to be accessible to people. So I really try and keep my prices as fair as I can. And then the gemstones that I use are actually natural gemstones. So I have some rubies that I actually got recently. So like the rough cut rubies, I did like an ombre piece with that. There's some moonstone, some labradorite, amazonite. So there's a lot of different
oh, lovely.
Yeah, so like natural gemstones. I love sandalwood as well. So just to like have like high quality pieces that everyone can wear and that will be able to last a long time for somebody. So
yeah, I noticed on your site, and if any of you are curious, Evelyn and Esme Jewelry is very easily found online. But I noticed on your site that your price point is actually quite accessible for people. And I almost started shopping. But more importantly, I think one of the coolest things was that, I did notice that you had a pretty nice collection of, was it the gemstones, which was really cool to look at. And I think I noticed, I don't know if those are pearls, but they look like pearls from here, which is so pretty.
So I do a lot of freshwater pearl pieces as well, and I like to buy them in person in Edmonton so that I can see them and inspect them and make sure that they're the quality that I want my pieces to emulate as well. So there's lots of things that I won't buy online. I'll buy them in person so that I can kind of see what kind of quality they are. And stuff, so.
Definitely. How do you choose your beading? Is that like a similar process for you?
Yeah, so there's certain places that I've found some good gems and stuff from. A lot of them are smaller businesses on Etsy that I'll find okay, this has been good quality and stuff. There's so many things that go into it because the hole has to be the right size. It has to be the certain diameter, certain cut. And then there's different quality gradings for gemstones as well. So I always look for the higher quality as well. So, and then two, for me, it's so important where things come from. So my 14 karat gold fill material, the gold fill is made in the US. And then the silver is made in Italy. So, tracing back those sources to make sure that they're, ethically sourced is also important to me as well. So.
Okay. For the sterling silver, what does that mean for it to come from Italy? Is it just just based off of ethics, or is there something a little bit more special about the metals that are coming from there?
Italy is just very known for its silver. It's been in the silver manufacturing for a very long time. And I find the quality is very good because sterling silver is at 925, right? So it's 92.5% solid silver. And then there's also that leftover portion that is other metals. So I think sometimes if you're sourcing from places that aren't as diligent, that's where people get allergies, right? Because there's like nickel in there or other metals that are not great. So then this is mostly just like some copper in there to give it some strength, because otherwise it would be too soft and it would just fall apart on you. So
yes, oh my gosh, yes, definitely. I'm absolutely mesmerized by some of the like how it's made type videos on Instagram, and seeing those kinds of metals being worked with is so interesting. And I know for the folks at home, I had no idea that Italy and silver were like best friends, but it's good to know. So a little question from Gabby, just wondering, what came first, the poetry or the jewelry?
The jewelry. Mm-hmm. I've always been a writer though, so I've always liked to write. I won poetry contests growing up, like in elementary school and junior high and stuff. So I've always loved writing. I think that, like the logical person in me when I was deciding to go to school was like, you got to go and get like a good job so that you can like pay your bills and stuff. So into science and nursing stuff, but at the heart of me, I've always been an artist. I've always been a writer. So I think that's definitely something that, I'm in my 30s and I'm looking to kind of fulfill my life a little bit more. My day job is a stable career. So now I have a little bit more time that I can write and pursue that as well. So, I definitely have always been a big English nerd. So,
Are there any, are there any pieces of literature that have kind of inspired you in the past?
In terms of poetry? Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, like I love all the classics, like Donne and Shakespeare and Yeats and the Brontes, all the classic pieces. And then like there's a lot of contemporary poets that I really love. Like I love Whitney Hansen and Rupi Kaur and all those.
Oh yeah, Rupi Kaur. I've seen some of the work in, like shout out to WeBookIn for having some really cool pieces of poetry and books in there. I'd love to see the Instagram posts as well, which is really cool because you never know what's going to speak to you.
Yeah. And
then it just does, and you're like, oh, okay, this is my little mini poetry horoscope for the day. Yeah. I love that. Is there anything that inspires you when it comes to your poetry specifically, apart from like your jewelry?
I think I've written a lot of poems just based on what I've been going through or what I see friends and family going through. Mm-hmm. I think that's really kind of inspiring. Sometimes it's like a way for me to make sense of the world, right? Like process my feelings and put them into words. But kind of, I guess that's a big inspiration for it. So, yeah.
Oh, wonderful. Is that something that you've like been able to share with people your whole life?
I just started kind of sharing my poetry in the last few years.
Really?
So I've been kind of, I would eventually like to have enough to publish, like a collection. Yes. So that takes time. You got to have a lot of poems.
Whole book. Oh my gosh, that would be wonderful. I don't know if you know any other local poets in Edmonton, but there are, I know of one or two. I've actually purchased one of their books, and it is one of the coolest things to be able to, hear about like a classmate, a schoolmate, or someone in your community who has written and published a book. And I think that would be super exciting for people to get to see from you, especially starting off with, your pieces being matched with poetry in the first place. And I think that's really exciting to even just dream up, to be able to work towards. If you could, what would you do with, like the artwork for your book?
I do paint a bit and sketch. So I think, I think I would do a little bit myself for sure. Like I love some watercolor and ink and I also have some very creative friends that I would probably ask them to kind of contribute some work as well. my friend Zeph is super creative.
Really?
Yeah, my friend. Yeah.
Oh.
So yeah, I would be honored for him to help me. My friend Jessica does the most stunning watercolors. So there's definitely lots of people that I could ask them to contribute.
Oh, that'd be so exciting. Again, collaborate aggressively.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that would be so cool. So I am curious, maybe some people at home would like to hear a couple pieces, and maybe we could even try to figure out what piece of jewelry that card belongs to.
Oh, sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
I just thought of that just now.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm seeing, oh my gosh, these are some great pieces. I love what's going on here.
Yeah, so this is the birthstone jewelry.
Mm-hmm.
So this is actually my bracelet here because I make these to order. So I have my husband's January, and then my kids are June, November, and September, and I'm August.
Mm-hmm.
So that is the mama poem that goes with it.
Shout out to Sapphires one time.
Yeah. And then this piece I really love. So I actually drew that little bumblebee on a very large paper, and then I shrunk it down to have it engraved on the pendant. And then on the flip side, it says "Be kind." And then I wrote a kindness poem there that kind of goes with it. And I think people are always a little surprised because it wasn't just like, be kind as a blanket statement, but like, what does kindness actually mean when you think about it? Especially coming from like someone who's a bit of a people pleaser. This was kind of like something that I really needed to bring forward.
I love that. I think that is such this whole piece, I think, is such an important thing for us to learn growing up, especially for young girls. Not to genderify it, but it is really important for us young girls to grow up knowing the difference between just being polite and being actually kind when we're genuinely willing to be kind.
Yeah.
I think that's so important. Wow. That is so cool. So when you're writing your poetry, does it come from the piece first, or does the piece come first?
I think it depends. I think with the kindness poem, like I had done like kind of like some bumblebee themed things, and I was thinking about like what that means to me, and so that's where the jewelry, the poem came second. I think like the stillness necklaces, so that's the one that I'm wearing. It was one of the first pieces that I made, and it's still one of my best sellers. And I think just like the minimalism of it, and just something that I'm always working on is being able to kind of find some stillness in my day. So yeah, that's definitely.
I love that. I love this especially. I don't know if you can see this. Where did this what was the experience for writing this piece?
I think I was at the end of my yoga, and I was just like laying there, and I was just thinking about like, this is so great. Like I should do this more, and I should find ways to. Even I always say, I'm like, I'm gonna have my coffee outside on my swing, and how often do I actually do that? Even though it only takes 10 minutes, right? So like, really trying to think about setting yourself up for peace in a day, right? And like how to do that, and all those little things that they honestly don't take a lot of time out of your day, but they make a huge difference in terms of like setting your mood for the day and feeling like you can put your best foot forward. So
yes, definitely. There's something really wonderful about starting your day with, even just a little yoga, little meditation. Unless you're me and the meditation is a nap right after you wake up. But it is something I get to take advantage of. But I noticed this piece specifically on your site, and it is absolutely gorgeous. I love the gradient of the stones that you picked.
Yeah.
What was it like to build something like that? Where did the inspiration for that one come from?
I went through a phase where I've just been really into rubies. I don't know. I was reading a lot behind even just, you know, what they symbolize in terms of like fire and passion and really just like going for it in life, right?
Yeah.
And I really love the different shades. I think red is a tricky color for people, but I think these tones everybody can wear.
Oh, yes.
So, you know, because there's a little bit more burgundies, a little bit more pinks, a little bit the baby pink, the very, very light. So I played with it for honestly like quite a while until I was happy with kind of like the gradient that I found, like that ombre gradient. But yeah, I think just kind of, you know, thinking about going forward, being passionate about the things that you want to be passionate about, and just kind of letting the other things that don't matter go to the side, because we can't do everything. We can't please everybody. So you got to focus on your energy where it's important, right? So.
Oh, yes, exactly. Yeah. And I think I've heard something about, you know, the things that we chase after. It's like, I guess a little bit about what you were saying earlier. You know, we got to put our skills first, you know, and do that kind of like career first, so that we can chase our passions and do those things as we need, right? Pay the bills first and chase our passions after. But I think that once you get to that point where you can just be like, put all that energy into something beautiful, something that makes you happy, you can literally set, you know, some of the other stuff aside and just create. And I definitely see that in your work right now here. Is this your full collection?
No, I have a lot online. And then every market that I go to, there's a lot of stuff that will never make it to the website, that because I'm like, I've made one of these because it was fun and I was creative in this moment, but to photograph absolutely everything and put absolutely everything on the website, it's just not, it's not going to happen. So I have like my best sellers on the website. And then I'm always switching it up seasonally for new things. So I kind of will, certain things I've kept them on since I started, and then certain things I'm like, you know what, this was the season for it, and now I'm going to move on to make space for new pieces. So yeah, it just kind of depends on how I'm feeling. I think when you create, you just have to create for yourself, right? If you're creating with the expectation of like, what will people like, then there's no point, right? So if you love it, that's what's important. So it's like different things that I've loved at different times, I guess, and what I've wanted at different times. So.
Yes, I love this piece especially. I love that how well it goes with the box, especially with the colors.
Yeah, so labradorite is like very, like, I don't know if you can tell in this light, but it's got a lot of dimension in terms of like there's some different colors in there, right? So. And I love a good neutral.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I'm all about a good neutral, for pieces. Summer, I like a good pop of color. So I've done, you know, some brighter pieces for summer, and definitely a little bit more boho. I feel like we all feel a little bit more boho in the summertime, right?
Definitely.
Whereas winter, I think people gravitate towards like the Swarovski crystal and like a little bit more like sparkle and stuff in the winter, right? Reminds you of like New Year's and kind of like be sparkly and that kind of thing. So, and then just like the simple. I really gravitate towards even just like the solid gold, no gemstones, no nothing, because I like that for kind of everyday wear. So, yeah.
Oh, beautiful. I need to take a look at some of these earrings here, because these are all also lovely. Wow. These are some great tenacious spirit. Oh, that looks fun.
Yeah, all the pearls go with the grit poem, which I actually don't have out, but yeah.
Tenacious spirit. Okay, let's see if I can figure out where this one goes.
That's actually a trick question because I'm sold out of my tenacious spirit pieces.
No!
You should have let her run it.
No wonder. I was like, I don't think it's in here.
So it was like kind of like little spikes. So they're like...
Just so we all know, this is Sarah right now.
But I love the poem, so I had to put the poem out. But they're like little spikes. The threaders, so the tenacious spirit threaders were probably the biggest hit. But yeah, they're just like a little tiny spike.
Oh, very cool.
A little edgier.
For some reason, I felt like they would be a little bit more like in your face, a little bit more edgier. That little bit of like almost spice.
Yes. Definitely spicy.
Well, now if I pick up another poem, is it going to be in here? The gratitude. Oh, I love this one. I like the first line that pops out is a belly laugh. I'm like, that is the truest like healing laugh. From what I've heard from I guess like our the newest and latest and greatest talk shows that kind of talk about when we nurture other people and nurture I guess like our children or our younger siblings, we nurture ourselves in that sense. And I'm like, oh, that is so beautiful to think of. Okay, the gratitude poem I feel like comes from or goes with some of the rounder hoops for the smile.
So these ones are like they're resilient. So the gratitude one kind of goes with more. They're like this style, but I did it with just Swarovski crystal.
Really?
Yeah. So I actually don't know if I have a piece right now of that, but it would be very similar to this.
Okay. What kind of stone is that?
That's moonstone.
Moonstone.
Yeah, it's also one of June's birthstones.
Oh, beautiful. I love moonstone. It's such a like I guess was a divine femininity type of stone, right? That's like amplify your womanness and let her shine, let you be you kind of thing, which is kind of cool. How do you choose what stones that you work with?
I love researching, their meaning and stuff like that. And then too, for me, the color, I have to be drawn to the color. So I love, this is peach moonstone as well, actually. So
yeah, I noticed that earlier.
So it's like very sparkly. So I love the neutral, so I love labradorite and like the moonstones for that. And then I feel like this is my favorite color, and this is amazonite. So I'm really drawn to like blues and turquoises because it reminds me of the ocean, and the ocean's kind of like my happy place. So yeah. So I think that's kind of where I kind of choose my colors from. So yeah, it's kind of it's one of those things. I'm like, well, I like this, so this is what I'm going to make, and if people like, that's great. If they don't, I'll find out.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Well, it would be hard not to like. It would be very difficult not to like. And even just looking at some of the pieces here, I'm like, do I like silver now? Because I love my gold, but am I in love with silver now? Is Sarah turning me over to silver? Because it's hard not to look and notice. And even some of this one right here, I absolutely love the way this is pearl.
Yes,
I love the way the pearl looks on the silver, because it's just like I don't know, it just goes so well.
Yeah. It's funny because silver has definitely made a comeback in the last couple of years. I think you can definitely tell with wedding rings even, right? You see everyone who got married in this set of 5 years has yellow gold, and then this set of 5 years has white gold. So it just kind of always rotates, but I think it's important to kind of pick a metal for your skin type. So you can tell if you have like warm undertones or cool undertones just by holding up like a piece of silver or gold to your face. So I'm very much about like the color theory of that. I have very neutral undertones, so I can wear both. I find in the wintertime when I'm a bit more pale, I'll gravitate towards gold. And then in the summertime, when I've got some sun, I'll wear a little bit more silver because it like pops a little bit better on my skin. But yeah, I feel like you could probably wear both.
I would love to. I mean, like, even just looking at some of these pieces, I'm like, these are so cool. I love the Be Kind, and I love this moon one here. What was the inspiration behind, well, I guess like the moon, but I mean, why a crescent in that?
So I wrote a poem. I actually don't have the poem out here, but basically on how like we're always changing, but we're still whole. So like even when sometimes we're bright and we're luminous and we're that full moon and people are seeing they're drawn to our gravity, we're still that same moon as when we're quiet and we're slipped away and kind of taking a step back. And so I think, especially as a woman, I think just knowing that, there's a variety of yous that you're going to experience, and all of them are beautiful and all of them are complete. So.
Oh, yes, definitely. And it is really cool to know that a lot of these pieces have so much thought that's gone into them and inspiration. And I feel like that's definitely something you can feel when you look at these pieces. I mean, this one especially is like absolutely gorgeous. It kind of feels like going back into my own roots, or trying to figure out what my roots are, or learn them a little bit better. And I definitely felt like, you know, that pop of color, that like sunshine, that like almost, I almost want to say vacation, but not quite like a vacation, more like almost like a freedom to just let it all go somewhere. And I think that this piece goes with this collection, does it?
This one I just wrote that recently, so I just had it out there. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. That's so wonderful. Yeah. Yes, definitely.
But yeah, I think the permission to be colorful, right?
Yeah.
I think we're so obsessed with neutrals and like the lack of color, but just, if you love color, be colorful, right?
Yes. There's a whole lot of like, well, don't be too bright.
Yeah.
Leave some mystery. And it's like, no, that's part of the mystery. Why is she bright? Where did that come from, right?
Yeah.
And how do I get there too?
Yeah.
It's definitely a journey, and I really appreciate that a lot of your pieces kind of come together as a bit of a journey. And even just this piece is especially that fire, that story of like, or that idea of, you know, letting that passion really turn into something and drive you is just so exciting. And I wonder what it's like for someone to look at your piece and go, I know exactly what that's for. You know? Do you ever have those kind of experiences with people when they see your pieces and they're just like, let me tell you a story?
Yeah, they're like, oh, it speaks to me. Or I had one girl come up to me at a market not that long ago, and she's like, I thought about this piece for a year. And I wanted, because I was at Strathern Artwork, and then I was there the following year. And she's like, and so I decided I'd come back this year and get it. And it was the bee one. Wow. And she's like, I regretted not getting it, and it just spoke to me. And same thing, I think it was like, you know, this is something that I want to internalize and keep with me. And so it's interesting to see that. Or lots of people, even when they're like thinking about like presents and stuff like that, they're like, this is exactly what I want to say, right? Like this is, especially for graduation, like the grit or the tenacious spirit poem, like that's like what they want to give their daughter as they like make their way in the world to explore their own path and stuff. So yeah.
Oh, that's so exciting. Oh my gosh, that kind of makes me want to almost like create a little gift basket specifically just for whoever's birthday is coming up. If any of my friends are watching the live stream, as you should be, because you're supportive, and that's how it works. Currently, or if you're any of Gabby's friends and you're watching the live stream, as you also should be.
My birthday's coming up.
Oh, Gabby's birthday's coming up.
That's right.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awkward. So a gift basket for Gabby? Yeah, I guess. I mean, like, I honestly, I think it'd be really cool to you know, put together a custom piece for one of your guy friends. You never forget. Always remember that your guy friends want to be pretty too.
Yes.
Know?
Sure.
Yes.
Do you ever get any custom orders for like men's style?
Yeah, so I added a few just like simple chains for men to my collection. And then the sandalwood I actually make in a larger size too for men.
Oh, nice.
Because I find they quite like the sandalwood. And I've actually had quite a few guys buy the lapis bracelet, so it's like a dark blue stone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, quite a few guys that have bought that one as well. So yeah, I think a lot of the pieces too, like I can put an extension on or make the chain longer, so they're definitely versatile in terms of like who can wear them. Like I find some of them aren't like super feminine, so you can kind of both people can wear them. But yeah, I did add some recent like chains and stuff to my men's collection, so it's definitely something that I want to kind of embark on. But yeah, I'm definitely kind of like thinking about how that would look, and it's definitely a different population to design for, right? In terms of what they're looking for, and what speaks to them, and even vulnerability of you know, like, this is a poem for you, right? Like
that's probably one of the sweetest things, is being able to, you know, share some of your poetry with, I guess, like men who don't realize they needed to hear that today. And I think we forget about our masculine population, our non-binary populations, all of the folks out there that love to experiment with jewelry and the energies that can, come from that kind of self-expression. And it's so exciting to be able to open up a different door for them, even if it's just that day, and seeing where it goes. And I see that a lot with your pieces here. This one's really cool. This one's very exciting for me to look at for some reason. It's just like a different kind of stone that
the halite,
yeah. What is halite or howlite? What is it again?
So it's a halite. It's a white stone. Sometimes people dye it, so you might see like turquoise halite that's been dyed.
Okay.
But the natural halite is just like white, and it kind of has like gray, blacky swirls in it. But yeah, it's like a very calming stone.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's hard not to want to, just do a whole fashion show right here, right now, and try a little bit of everything in this, like, even just the sandalwood is just lovely to have in the hands as well. I think sandalwood is such an interesting, I guess, jewelry piece because it can be so. I guess that it almost feels like one of those like closest to like a prayer bead sometimes. Which is really cool and very interesting to see on people because it can go on anyone. That like
it's very spiritual.
Yes.
I think people have used it in malas for a very long time as well. So no, I enjoy sandalwood a lot.
Oh yeah, it's beautiful. I love the versatility in your collection here, and I would love to almost visit you at different markets. So which markets do you frequent?
So I've definitely not done as many markets this year because I have been back at work. But I will be at Strathern Art Walk in September. So it's the first weekend after the long weekend. And then I'll probably do a few of there's like the Thursday night farmers market off of 124th. So Tori, who has Hideout Distro, we talked about having like just like a tent on her front lawn for a couple of those Thursdays. But once the kids are out of school, so that I can like bring them with me. I think it starts at like 3 or something. It's early, so it just wasn't really doable when they're in school. But yeah, come summertime then.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Definitely. Is it what is it like getting to bring them along for your markets?
They don't usually stay for the whole thing because they think it's going to be really fun, and then they're bored. So
of course.
They're like, they think they're still quite little. So they're 3, 5, and almost 8. So the 8-year-old would be totally fine. She would be able to hang out for a while. But yeah, the other two would be like after 5 minutes, like, "Mommy, I'm bored."
Oh yes.
But yeah. But they do love to see it, and I think kids love like that idea of like shop and playing store and all of that. So they quite enjoy it.
Oh my gosh, yes. I used to go to markets with my mom, and one of the coolest things was, doing my little rounds and checking in on everyone and, discovering new things and being like, "Oh, this is new." And they're like, "Nope, it's the same thing as last weekend." And I'm like, "Okay, cool. Sounds great. It's new to me." Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But it is one of the coolest things growing up, getting to explore in markets and learn a little bit about the people that are there. And I think one of the coolest things even is, seeing what comes from people's minds and their passions. What is it like to see, to meet people when you're at markets, especially if there's like large groups of them?
Honestly, I'm always just so in awe of people's creativity, right? Like, you're like, how did you think of that? That's genius. And then also too, their dedication and time, like especially, when I walk Strathern Art Walk and I'm seeing like these paintings that I know took like hundreds of hours, right? Like it's just beautiful, right? Like the fact that they were able to kind of think that through, and like their spatial awareness and their ability to bring colors in and stuff like that. So yeah, it's really quite amazing. Yeah. I feel really inspired every time I like go to a market and I see everyone's stuff, and yeah.
Oh my God, yes, definitely. I wonder what it would be like to, honestly, to be a vendor. But then I remember that I would have to have something to vend. And I don't want to vend it. I want to buy what is being vended. So
I mean, you could always take that air quotes collection and see if it would sell.
my air quotes. Oh yeah, all the direct quotes that I like to make, and I'm like, every single time I think of a random direct quote, I think I should put that on a water bottle.
Yeah.
Just because.
Or a t-shirt.
Yes, I should just make direct quotes, t-shirt and water bottles every single time, but stop it. Now I'm being serious. Now I'm starting to feel like this could be a real thing, you know?
Yeah.
But
Sarah,
yeah.
a question for you. You mentioned that the sea kind of inspires you. Do you
Yeah.
have a favorite beach that you love?
Ooh.
Oh, yeah. So I would say Hanalei Bay in Kauai.
Really?
Yeah. It's just stunning. Yeah.
Do you go there? Have you been able to go often, or?
We're going in November again to Kauai. I've been, a couple years ago, we went with my whole family. So it was really fun because my parents came, and then my brother has 3 boys, and my sister came. And so it was just, chaos of all the little children, and they just had so much fun. But it's stunning. It's a little bit more remote, so you don't have like the crazy crowds, and you have the beautiful Nepali coast in the background, and it's just, and I've been there in the summertime too. Like my husband and I went there for our honeymoon, and in the summertime the sea is very calm, so it's just like glass there, and you can see right to the bottom. So it's so different depending on what time of year you go, whereas like usually November when we like to go, there's surfing and stuff, there's big waves, so yeah.
Oh, beautiful. That sounds so exciting. That actually kind of made me think of this bracelet a little bit more. Like the way you're describing the water, I'm like, you can see right through it. I'm like, oh, that's the best kind of water ever.
Yeah.
I love that. Is there, if you could tell yourself, give yourself a little, I guess, inspiration from when you were starting, what would you tell yourself?
I think, just be patient, grit, really, just sticking it out. Yeah. There's so many times you want to quit, or things don't go the way you think they're going to go, or you have setbacks or whatever. And honestly, when you look at successful businesses long term, it takes a long time to get where you go. Yeah.
Oh, yes, definitely. And you're in your, we're in 2024. You're in your 3rd year now, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
yeah. And honestly, for year 3, this is looking pretty good.
yeah.
I would say. What was it? What did it look like for year 1 and year 2 for you?
Oh my gosh, I had such unrealistic expectations.
No.
Well, for year one, I was like, you know what? I'm going to go to this market and I'm going to sell absolutely everything that I made. Not the case. So I think kind of like knowing what to expect for growth and how to measure success is important. So even with something like Instagram, I think people get really obsessed with followers or even engagement, and honestly I don't find that necessarily equals sales. So kind of taking your time for that, but yeah, just let things happen organically, let your vision stay true to the course, and that's kind of like the most important thing. Hey buddy.
Oh,
how's it going?
Sir.
Yeah, I put a movie on. The movie's probably over.
Probably, yeah.
How's it going? Good. You're on TV. You want to say hi?
Hi. Perfect.
Yeah.
Do any of your kids have a favorite piece for themselves?
You know what? Cohen designed, I don't have it up here, but he designed a bracelet for his teacher last year, and I love the color and pattern so much. It was similar to these beads that I actually made it part of the collection. So,
Wow, that's so exciting.
Yeah, I had him pick out. Hi, sweetie. You gonna come say hi? Oh, she's gonna throw her cat.
What was that it like getting to work with a guest artist?
It was great. Yeah, I just kind of like put the beads out and I was like, pick the colors, pick the pattern, and he put them on the little string, and I was like, wow, this is really awesome. So yeah, we're all artists, right?
Oh yes, definitely.
Yeah.
It's definitely a wonderful experience getting to share that with the whole family, and kind of almost passing on that creativity and that maybe that little spark that might turn into something. You never know. Maybe when he's a little bit older, he'll be like, Mom, I need a whole men's collection. And that's it, There you go. You have someone who can already tell you what the men's collection should be like for the next generations. Right?
Yes. Well, he has 2 sisters, so he's very into accessories.
Perfect. That's the best. So for the folks at home, where can they find you online? And what is your availability for customs and collaborations?
So my website is just there, evelynesme.ca, and then my Instagram handle is there as well. So yeah, you can definitely send me a message from either the website or from like a DM on Instagram to kind of collaborate. And then I work 3 days a week teaching, so I have like some weekday availability for discussing custom pieces and stuff. Lots of times if someone has something that they like want me to, like they have, for instance, like a necklace that was grandma's and they want me to take it apart and kind of make something out of it, I'll kind of ask them a few questions about that. So I'll be like, you know what, drop the piece off with me and we'll kind of discuss like, okay, what's your style, right? Like what would you wear? Metal types, that kind of thing. And then I'll kind of send them pictures and I'll give them lots of options, be like, okay, like what do you think about this or like this? And because everyone has a different vision of like how minimalist or like statement piece they want it to be. But yeah, so it kind of like we kind of go back and forth online or in person, and then I kind of like give them a price breakdown and stuff, and yeah.
Wonderful, awesome. So thank you so much, Sara. I look forward to seeing you in your next market in September, right?
Yeah.
What market is that again?
The Strathern Art Walk.
Okay, yeah. Cool. And where is that located?
It's at Strathern Park, so it's just like the neighborhood of Strathern.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so it's right by the river valley. My tent will be in the beer gardens, so that's where you'll be able to find me. So you can grab a cocktail and come say hi and shop. So.
Yes, I love it, and I can, get something that matches my cocktail. Perfect.
Well, exactly.
Thank you so much,
You're
Sara,
welcome.
for spending time with us, and thank you so much for having all of this ready so we can show people some of the coolest pieces that you've got available right now, and I will try really, really hard to behave myself. So thank you so much, and I really appreciate you sharing your creativity and your passion with us, and kind of giving the folks at home an idea of what it's like to take that creativity and do the slow grow and just enjoy the process. Be patient. So anyways, that has been myself, Rekha, and thank you guys for tuning in to On Location with Rekha and Gabby, and we'll see you at a next one. See ya.